Do you know what's scary? Some people will spend their entire life working and still die broke. Not because they are lazy, not because they are unlucky, but because of 3 habits they don't even realize are destroying their future. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to share is not theory, it's reality. Think about this. Every day, millions of people wake up early, fight through traffic, work hard all day, come home tired, collapse on the bed, and repeat the same routine the next morning. Years go by like this. Yet when you look at their bank account, when you ask them about savings, when you ask them about investments, the answer is almost always the same: nothing. They worked, but they stayed poor. And the question is, why? Let me tell you a story. A man once told me, if only I had more money, my life would change. But the truth is, even if you gave him more, he would lose it. You know why? Because poor habits will always defeat good luck. That's why lottery winners go broke. That's why people who inherit money end up with nothing. Money without new habits is like water in your hand. It slips away. The first habit that keeps people poor forever is survival spending. Have you noticed how people think? They say, I'll just get through this month, salary comes, and before the weekend's gone. Rent, food, bills, a few small luxuries, maybe a dinner outside, maybe a new phone they don't really need, and back to zero. Month after month, year after year. And then they say, I don't have the chance to grow. But the truth is, they are not planting anything. They are eating the seed. I know this because I lived it. There was a time I stood outside offices, desperate for a job, rejected again and again. When I finally got work, I thought my life would change. But every time I made a little more, I spent a little more, I wasn't building. I wasn't growing. I was running on a treadmill, faster and faster, but still in the same place. Maybe you feel the same way right now. Let me paint you a picture. 2 young men work in the same factory. They earn the same salary. One comes home, tired, watches TV, scrolls on his phone, spends money on small pleasures. The other comes home, tired as well, but he spends 1 hour learning a new skill. He reads books. He saves instead of buying new clothes every month. 10 years later, the first man is still in the same factory. The second man owns his own company. What's the difference? Not luck, not family, not intelligence, just habits. Here's the painful truth. Poor people stay poor because survival thinking never allows growth. When all you think about is, how do I make it through today? You never ask, how do I build for tomorrow? And the world rewards those who build, not those who survive. Look at J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. She was broke, raising a child alone, living on welfare. 12 publishers rejected her. She had every excuse to quit. She could have said, I'm poor, I have no chance. But instead of eating her seed, she planted it. She kept writing, and that seed became books, then movies, then an empire. She turned words into billions. That is not luck. That is a habit of growth. But here's the dangerous mindset most people carry. I don't have enough, so let me spend what I have to feel good right now. They buy things that look rich instead of investing in what makes them rich. They eat the seed, never planting it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you eat the seed, you will always stay hungry. If you plant the seed, water it, wait, and protect it. One day you will sit under the shade of the tree. Let me give you another story. Oprah Winfrey. She was born into poverty. Abused as a child, working in a grocery store at 14. By every measure, she should have stayed poor forever. But she didn't. She didn't waste her life complaining or spending to escape the pain. She invested in her voice. She invested in her ability to connect. She turned her pain into power. Today, she is not only wealthy, but one of the most influential women in the world. Not because of money at the start, but because of habits. And this is what I want you to remember. Poor people do not stay poor because they don't work hard. Some of the hardest working people in the world are broke. They stay poor because all their energy goes into surviving today instead of building tomorrow. Poverty is not only in the wallet. Poverty is in the mind. Change the mind and you change the wallet. Change the habits and you change the future. So I ask you right now, are you surviving or are you growing? Are you chasing comfort or are you building skills? Do you spend to look rich or do you invest to become rich? Because the truth is, money follows habits. And until your habits change, your future cannot. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you the second habit that silently keeps people poor forever. It is the habit of falling into traps, money traps. These are not accidents. They are designed. They are in the ads you see, the sales in your malls, the apps on your phone, and if you don't recognize them, you will spend your entire life working hard and still end up with nothing. Think carefully. The moment most people get extra money, what do? Do they invest it? Do they save it? No. They buy something new, a phone, a car, a bigger TV, new clothes, a fancy dinner. They call it reward. But what they don't realize is this. Poor people want to look rich, while rich people want to stay rich. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought decades ago. Meanwhile, a man earning $500 a month will happily take a loan to buy a $1,000 phone. That is the consumer trap. I once knew a man who worked very hard. The day he got a raise, instead of investing in himself or his family's future, he went to the bank, took a loan, and bought a new car. He drove it proudly, and people admired him. But every month, half his salary went to pay the bank. That car didn't make him free. It made him a prisoner. That car didn't make him rich. It made the bank rich. And this is what happens when you confuse looking rich with being rich. Another trap is fear. Poor people are afraid to take risks. They say, I don't want to start a business. It's too risky. I don't want to invest. I might lose money. And so they put their savings in an account that gives 2% interest, while inflation eats 10%. They think they are saving, but in reality, their money is shrinking. What they don't realize is this. Doing nothing is the biggest risk of all. When Jeff Bezos left his stable Wall Street job to start Amazon in a garage, people laughed. They called him crazy. They said he was throwing away his future. But he understood something most poor people never do. The biggest risk is not failing. The biggest risk is never trying. Today, Amazon is everywhere, and Bezos became one of the richest men in the world. But if he had played safe, he would have stayed comfortable, not wealthy. The third trap is procrastination. Poor people say, one day I will save, one day I will invest, one day I will start a business. But one day never comes. Time slips away, and they don't even notice. Albert Einstein once called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. The earlier you start, the more it grows. But if you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you lose the only thing you can never get back, time. I made this mistake too. In my younger years, I wasted time waiting for the right chance. I told myself, when I have more money, I will invest. When I have more time, I will learn. That perfect moment never came. The truth is, you don't wait for the perfect time. You start where you are with what you have, and you grow from there. And let me tell you about one more trap. Environment. The people you surround yourself with will decide your future. If your 5 closest friends only gossip, complain, and waste time, guess what? You will gossip, complain, and waste time too. But if your 5 closest friends discuss ideas, investments, growth, and opportunities, you will rise with them. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. I once saw a group of young men. Some of them spent every night drinking, partying, wasting time. The others spent their nights building small businesses, learning skills, teaching each other. 10 years later, the first group is still in the same place. The second group is running companies. The environment shaped them. The environment pushed them. And this is why, if you want to change your life, you must first change your circle. Ladies and gentlemen, these traps, consumerism, fear, procrastination, and environment are silent thieves. They don't steal your money all at once. They steal your future slowly while you think you are just living life. And unless you recognize and break free from these traps, money will always control you, instead of you controlling money. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now take you to the third habit. And this one is perhaps the most dangerous of all. It is the habit of blaming. Poor people always find someone else to blame for their situation. They blame the government, they blame their boss, they blame the economy, they blame their family, but they never look in the mirror. Do you know what I've noticed? Whenever life is hard, the easiest thing to do is to point a finger. If only my boss paid me more, I would be rich. If only the government gave me support, I would succeed. If only my parents were wealthier, I would have a better start. This way of thinking may give you comfort, but it will never give you progress. Because the moment you blame, you give away your power. I once met a young man who told me, I can't succeed because my father didn't leave me any money. I told him, that's why you have to succeed, so that your children never say the same about you. Every generation has two choices, to pass down excuses or to pass down opportunities. Poor people pass down excuses. Rich people pass down opportunities. Another side of blaming is complaining. Poor people complain all the time. They complain about their job, but they never learn a new skill. They complain about their pay, but they never try a side hustle. They complain about the government, but they never even try to improve themselves. Complaining is addictive. It makes you feel like you are doing something, but in reality, you are doing nothing. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone complain their way into success? Never. The more time you spend complaining, the less time you have for action. Action creates results. Complaining creates nothing. Let me tell you a story. There were two shopkeepers. Both had the same problem. Their street had very little traffic. One of them complained every day. The government doesn't care. The city doesn't support us. Customers never come. He sat in his shop, waiting for change. The other one said, if people don't come to me, I will go to them. He started delivering goods to nearby homes. He told his friends, if you buy from me, I will bring it to your door. Slowly, people began to trust him. His business grew. The first shopkeeper is still there, sitting, waiting, complaining. The second shopkeeper is now the owner of a supermarket. Same street, same problem, different mindset. Ladies and gentlemen, the habit of blaming and complaining is like putting chains on your own legs. You think the world tied you down, but in truth, you tied yourself. And as long as you live with excuses, you will never break free. Let me tell you something powerful. Your future is not decided by the government, or your boss, or your parents. It is decided by the choices you make today. When you blame, you delay. When you take responsibility, you take control. And the day you stop saying, it's not my fault, and start saying, it's my responsibility, that is the day you begin the journey to wealth, freedom, and success. Ladies and gentlemen, let me end with something you must never forget. Poverty is not only about money, it is a mindset. You can give two people the same amount of money, the same opportunities, even the same education, and still one will rise and one will fall. Why? Because one changes his habits and the other keeps repeating them. The truth is, nobody is born poor forever. You may be born with nothing, but if you die with nothing, it is because you chose the wrong habits. I know that sounds harsh, but reality is harsh. Life does not reward excuses. Life rewards discipline, courage, and action. So let me ask you, how long will you wait? How long will you keep blaming, keep spending, keep procrastinating? How many years will you lose before you realize time is slipping away? 10 years from now, you will regret two things: the chances you didn't take and the habits you didn't change. I once heard a wise man say, chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. When you are young, wasting 1 hour seems like nothing. Spending a little more than you earn seems normal. Complaining feels harmless. But year after year, these small habits pile up, until one day you wake up at 40, 50, 60, and you realize it's too late. But here's the good news. Today, right now, you have a choice. You can break the chain. You can stop following the crowd. You can decide, I will not live poor forever. Poverty is not your destiny. It is a temporary situation if you choose to fight it. Think about this. Every rich man you admire today was once unknown, struggling, doubted. Every success story you hear started with a decision, the decision to change habits. So if they could do it, why not you? Ladies and gentlemen, you must remember, success is not built in one day, but it is built daily. Your habits are your future. Change your habits, and you will change your life. Stay trapped in them, and no amount of luck or hard work will save you. So the question I leave you with is this: which habits will you take with you tomorrow? The habits that keep you poor forever, or the habits that make you free? The answer, my friends, is in your hands. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dreamers and hustlers, let me ask you something. How many of you wake up in the morning and immediately check your phone? Come on, be honest. You open your eyes and the first thing you see is notifications, TikTok videos, Instagram reels, messages from people who don't even matter, and suddenly your morning is gone. Now, let me tell you a secret. There is a world where mornings are not wasted. A world where the richest people in the world are quietly building their future before you even finish hitting snooze. I'm talking about billionaires. Not just anyone with a lot of money. I mean people who make money while you're still wondering what to eat for breakfast. And the craziest part, these habits, these tiny rituals are so simple that you'll laugh when you hear them. You'll think, really? That's it? But that's the beauty of it. They're simple, yet they work. And today, I'm going to share with you the 3 secret habits billionaires do every morning that separate them from the rest of us. And maybe, just maybe, you'll start doing them too. So your mornings don't go to waste like last week's Netflix binge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the first secret habit billionaires do every morning is something so simple that most people ignore it completely. They plan their morning before anything else. And when I say plan, I don't mean just thinking, maybe I'll check emails. No, I mean really deciding how the first 2 hours of the day are going to go. Think about it. How many of us wake up, hit the alarm clock 3 times, roll over, grab our phones, and start scrolling? 5 minutes turn into 15, 15 into 30, and before you know it, poof! Half the morning is gone, and all you've accomplished is watching a cat jump off a table in slow motion. Meanwhile, billionaires are already awake, focused, and moving toward their goals. Let me give you an example. Imagine 2 people waking up at 7 a.m. Person A wakes up, checks messages, scrolls TikTok, laughs at some silly video, wonders what to eat, and by 8 a.m. is still in bed thinking, maybe I'll get started in 5 minutes. Person B, the billionaire, wakes up, stretches, takes a deep breath, and says, 7:05 meditation, 7:20 exercise, 7:50 review my top 3 goals for the day. By 8 a.m., they've already accomplished more than person A will all day. Funny, right? But true. And here's the thing. They don't overcomplicate it. Some people think planning means using fancy apps, charts, and spreadsheets with colors that look like a rainbow exploded. No. Sometimes a billionaire just writes down 3 simple things they must do today. That's it. 3 things. And every action after that supports those 3. This habit does something amazing. It trains your brain to focus. It reduces stress, and it turns your morning into a launching pad. Because mornings are like the first domino in a long line. Knock it over correctly, and the rest of the day falls perfectly. Knock it over lazily, scrolling memes and sipping cold coffee, and the day tumbles into chaos. So think about it. Do you want to start your day like a confused squirrel, hopping from one thing to another? Or like a billionaire, calm, prepared, and already ahead of the game? The difference is huge. And it all starts with one tiny habit, planning your morning. That's secret habit number 1. And trust me, if you master this, everything else in your day becomes easier. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to secret habit number 2. Billionaires make their body move every morning. And I don't mean just dragging yourself to the bathroom and brushing your teeth. No, this is serious. They exercise, stretch, sometimes meditate with movement, because they know your body and your mind are connected. Think about it. How many of us wake up, stumble to the fridge, grab leftover pizza, scroll our phones, and wonder why we feel tired at noon? That's exactly why billionaires move their bodies first. They know that if your body is sluggish, your brain will be sluggish too. You can have all the dreams in the world, but if your body feels like a soggy noodle, good luck turning those dreams into action. Now here's the funny part. Exercise doesn't mean they're all pumping iron like superheroes. Some walk, some do push-ups, some do yoga, some even dance in their pajamas, if that's what gets their blood flowing. Imagine a billionaire doing squats while reading the news. Sounds silly, right? But it works. And here's a little secret. When you laugh or feel silly while moving, your brain releases dopamine, and suddenly, your whole day feels better. Let me tell you a story. I know someone, I won't say who, wakes up every morning groggy, hair sticking out in 10 directions, looking like they lost a fight with their pillow. But they put on music, dance for 5 minutes, and suddenly, they're awake, energized, and ready to tackle emails that would normally make them cry. You don't need fancy gyms or personal trainers, just move. Even a short walk, a few stretches, or dancing in your room counts. And here's why billionaires do this every day. It's not just about looking good or building muscles. It's about momentum. When you start your day moving, your body says, yes, we're ready. Your brain says, okay, let's do this. And suddenly, that long to-do list doesn't look so scary. So the next time your alarm rings and you think, oh, 5 more minutes, remember those 5 minutes are stealing your energy, your focus, and your potential. Get up, move, stretch, jump, dance, do something. Because secret habit number 2 is all about activating your body to activate your brain. And once you do that, you're no longer just a person trying to survive the day. You're someone building an unstoppable momentum that carries you through challenges, decisions, and yes, even traffic jams that usually make you scream at your car stereo. Ladies and gentlemen, now we arrive at the third secret habit, the one that most people skip, and the one that separates the billionaires from the rest of us. It is reflection and goal setting every morning. And I know what you're thinking. Reflection? Goals? Sounds boring and complicated. But trust me, it's neither. In fact, it can be funny, powerful, and life-changing all at the same time. Most people wake up, brush their teeth, maybe drink some coffee, scroll through social media, and suddenly, 2 hours have vanished like magic. By 9 a.m., they're already stressed, panicking about emails, messages, and everything they didn't get done yesterday. Meanwhile, billionaires are doing something very different. They take just a few quiet minutes to ask themselves 2 simple questions. What is the most important thing I want to accomplish today? And am I moving closer to my big goals, or am I just spinning in circles like a hamster on a wheel? Here's the funny part. This reflection can look really strange to outsiders. Imagine someone in pajamas, sitting cross-legged, staring out the window, sipping tea, and muttering to themselves. Sounds crazy, right? But 3 hours later, they've solved problems that would take most people an entire week. Why? Because their mind is laser-focused, they know where they are going, and they refuse to waste energy on distractions like doom scrolling or gossip. Let me tell you a story. I know a young entrepreneur again, no names, because we all have these friends who used to wake up, rush to work, panic about emails, and complain about meetings all day. His mornings were chaos. Then he started this simple habit. 5 minutes of reflection, writing down 3 top goals for the day, and asking, what can I do today that actually moves the needle? Suddenly, he found himself finishing tasks faster, making better decisions, and even having time to enjoy breakfast, something he had been skipping for years. And here's another funny thing. Sometimes reflection doesn't have to be serious. Some billionaires write little reminders to themselves like, smile at the receptionist, or drink water, not coffee 3, or even, remember to laugh at yourself. It sounds silly, but this is exactly why it works. It trains the mind to focus on what matters, ignore what doesn't, and keep a light heart while chasing serious goals. Now think about this. Mornings set the tone for the whole day. If you wake up chaotic, distracted, and stressed, your day follows the same path. But if you sit quietly, reflect, and set clear goals, even for just 5 minutes, your day is transformed. Suddenly, challenges that seemed impossible become manageable. Meetings that seemed boring or stressful become opportunities. Emails that were a headache become clear tasks to check off. And here's the key takeaway. You don't need a fancy office, expensive planner, or meditation guru. Just a notebook, a pen, a cup of tea, and a few intentional minutes to align yourself with your goals. That's it. The simplicity is what makes it powerful. This habit trains your brain, shapes your mindset, and builds momentum that carries through the day. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, secret habit number 3 is about starting your day with clarity, purpose, and intention. Move your body, yes, but also move your mind. Sit, reflect, write down your goals, laugh at yourself, and make sure that when you leave your home, you are no longer drifting through life. You are marching forward, intentional, focused, and unstoppable. And the best part? This takes only a few minutes every morning, yet it can change your life forever. Just a few minutes and everything else falls into place. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we've uncovered the 3 secret habits billionaires do every morning, let's put it all together and see why this is so powerful. Habit number 1. Plan your morning. Don't just wake up and wander aimlessly. Decide what matters. Decide what your top 3 priorities are, and knock them out before most people even open their eyes fully. Habit number 2, move your body. Walk, stretch, jump, dance, even if it looks ridiculous. Get your blood flowing and your mind awake. And habit number 3, reflect and set goals. Take a few quiet minutes to align your actions with your vision. Laugh at yourself and get laser focused on what actually moves the needle. Now imagine combining all 3. Imagine waking up, planning your morning like a general strategizing a battle, moving your body like a warrior warming up for the day, and reflecting on your goals like a wise person plotting their empire. You are unstoppable. You are focused. You are no longer reacting to life. You are creating it. Here's the funny truth. These habits are simple, shockingly simple. So simple that most people will ignore them, thinking they are too easy to work. But that's exactly why they work. It's like finding a secret door in a video game that gives you extra lives while everyone else is still stuck fighting slimes. And you, my friend, get to live that extra life every morning. Let me give you a relatable example. Think about your neighbor, who always seems to be in a rush, stressed, yelling at their coffee machine. Meanwhile, the billionaire neighbor, let's say the one who walks past with earbuds in, doing a few stretches, writing in a notebook, already solved their first 3 problems of the day before 8 a.m. Who do you think will end the day happier, richer, and calmer? Exactly. And here's the best part. You don't need to be rich to do this. You don't need fancy gyms, expensive planners, or a private chef. All you need is discipline, intention, and a little courage to start your day differently. The moment you wake up, you have a choice. Follow the crowd, scroll, snooze, and drift, or take control, move, plan, reflect, and step into the day like someone who's already winning. So ladies and gentlemen, here's my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, try this. Spend 5 minutes planning, 5 minutes moving, and 5 minutes reflecting. That's 15 minutes to start your day like a billionaire. And if you do this consistently, not just tomorrow, but every day, you won't recognize your own life a month from now. Opportunities will appear, stress will fade, and suddenly, success won't feel like luck. It will feel like your natural state. Remember, these habits aren't magic. They're simple actions repeated every day. And that's the secret, consistency over intensity. Move your body, plan your morning, reflect, and watch your life transform. You will laugh at how easy it was and how powerful it became. So, wake up tomorrow, take control, and become the master of your day. Your future self will thank you, your goals will thank you, and maybe, even just maybe, you'll start laughing at how confused everyone else looks, still scrolling memes at 9 a.m. while you're already winning your day. Go ahead, start tomorrow, and remember, big success begins with a small morning habit. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Your phone has a delete button, so should your life. When your phone lags, you don't cry, you don't argue with the app, you just hit uninstall. Simple. But when a person lags your life, drains your energy, and steals your time, what do? You keep them. You let them stay. You even call them friends. See the problem? Apps waste storage. People waste destiny. Let me tell you something most people never realize. The quality of your life has nothing to do with how many people you have around you. It has everything to do with who those people are. Some people are vitamins, they energize you. Some are viruses, they infect you. And just like in your phone, if you don't delete the virus, eventually the whole system crashes. Now here's the sad truth. Most of you are not losing because of enemies. Enemies are easy. They attack you directly, you see them, you fight back. The real danger is the people smiling next to you, but slowly killing your focus, your energy, your dreams. These people don't stab you in the chest. They drain you, drop by drop. Think about it. How many times have you wasted an entire evening because of someone who just loves complaining? How many times have you delayed your goals because of a friend who said, "Bro, relax, life is short, enjoy"? How many times have you felt guilty because someone else convinced you that your ambition is too much? Listen carefully. Before you build your dream, you must clean your circle. Before you chase success, you must chase away distractions. It doesn't matter how strong your engine is. If you're carrying the wrong passengers, you'll never reach the destination. Listen carefully. Relaxation is good for one evening, not for an entire life. Some of you are relaxing at 20, and you'll still be relaxing at 40 with the same broke friends, same cheap tea, and the same stories about how life is unfair. And don't tell me, but I've known them since childhood, or but their family. My friend, termites also live inside the same house. Just because they've been around for years doesn't mean they should still be in your life. I'll tell you this, show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your next 5 years. If they're broke, you'll stay broke. If they're lazy, you'll stay lazy. If they gossip, you'll gossip. But if they dream big, if they work hard, if they challenge you, you'll rise. So the first step is not working harder, it's deleting smarter. Some of you need less motivation and more uninstallation. You know the first type of person you must delete? The complainers. Yes, those walking radio stations of negativity. They wake up in the morning, tune into FM 99.9. Everything is wrong, and then broadcast the signal to you all day long. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The ones who complain about the weather, complain about the government, complain about their boss, complain about their neighbors, complain about traffic, complain about prices. Basically, if breathing cost money, they'd complain about oxygen too. And here's the dangerous part. Complainers don't just complain, they recruit. They want you to join their fan club of misery. They'll say things like, "Bro, life is so unfair. Don't even bother trying. Nothing works in this country." And if you're not careful, suddenly you're nodding your head, eating fries, and agreeing that success is impossible. Congratulations, you've just downloaded the Complainers Virus Pack. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a statue built for the world's best complainer? No. You've seen statues of leaders, innovators, fighters, not crybabies. Because history doesn't remember who whined the loudest. It remembers who acted when everyone else was whining. The problem is, complainers sound smart. They always have data. They'll tell you how many people failed, how many businesses shut down, how many times someone lost money. They never tell you how many succeeded. Why? Because positivity doesn't make them feel important. Negativity does. And here's the worst part. Spend enough time with complainers, and you become one. You start finding faults in everything. Suddenly your dreams are too risky, your goals are too ambitious, your life is too hard, not because it's true, but because you caught the disease. Look, if your boat has a hole, it doesn't matter how hard you row, you'll sink. A complainer is that hole. No matter how much motivation you have, they will drain it. So what should you do? Simple. Uninstall them. You don't need to fight them, argue with them, or try to convert them. Just reduce access. Mute the group chat. Stop picking up every call. Spend less time. You don't delete them with hate, you delete them with distance. Because here's the truth. A complainer will never run out of problems. But if you stick around, you will run out of dreams. And I promise you, your dreams are worth more than their complaints. The second type of person you must delete are what I call the comfort dealers. They don't sell drugs, they don't sell alcohol, they sell something way more dangerous, comfort. Now, you might laugh, but think about it. Comfort is the most silent addiction on earth. Nobody wakes up and says, "Oh no, I'm addicted to comfort." But check your life. How many of your failures came from chasing comfort? And how many victories came from enduring discomfort? These comfort dealers are sneaky. They're often your friends, your cousins, maybe even your coworkers. And their product sounds innocent. They'll say things like, "Relax, bro. You've worked enough. Life is short. Why are you always so serious? Just chill for one night. Skip the gym today. Let's eat pizza. One day won't kill you." But here's the problem. It's never just one day. One day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. And then you look in the mirror 3 years later, wondering why your dreams are still in the draft folder, while your belly has reached the final version. Let me give you an example. Imagine you finally get the courage to start your side hustle. You tell yourself, "Tonight I'll work on it." You sit down, open your laptop, and then your comfort dealer friend calls. "Bro, let's play PUBG. Or the deadliest line. Come on, just this once." And boom, you're gone. 1 hour wasted, 2 hours gone. Suddenly it's midnight, and you're telling yourself, "I'll start tomorrow." But tomorrow is just a polite way of saying never. See, comfort dealers are dangerous because they make laziness look fun. They're the life of the party. They're funny, they're always smiling, they always have a new plan to waste time. But let me ask you, when the bills come, when the pressure comes, when your future is on the line, will they show up to pay your rent? No. They'll just say, "Chill, bro. Things will work out." Now here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Success lives on the other side of discomfort. Waking up at 5 a.m. is uncomfortable. Saving money when everyone else is partying is uncomfortable. Saying no to friends is uncomfortable. Working hard while others are chilling is uncomfortable. But that's where the rewards are. If you surround yourself with comfort dealers, you'll never build the muscles for success. It's like hanging out with people who eat dessert for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. At first it's sweet, then it's poison, and here's the trick, they'll make you feel guilty for working hard. They'll say things like, "Oh, you've changed, you're boring now, you don't hang out with us anymore." And because you don't want to lose them, you slow yourself down. Let me tell you, this is emotional blackmail disguised as friendship. I'll give you a line you should never forget. You don't lose friends when you grow. You lose people who were never your friends in the first place. Real friends clap when you hustle. Fake friends laugh when you hustle. So what should you do with comfort dealers? Same thing you do with spam emails. You don't open them, you don't reply, you don't argue, you just hit delete, quietly, politely, no drama. Because if you let them keep sending messages into your life, eventually you'll click, and one click is enough to infect your future. At the end of the day, remember this. You can either live like a warrior or like a tourist. Warriors embrace discomfort. Tourists live for comfort. And I promise you, tourists take pictures, but warriors make history. The third type of person you must delete, and trust me, this one is the most dangerous, are the dream killers. Now, let me be clear. A dream killer doesn't always walk around with a knife shouting, "I will destroy your dream." No, they're much smarter than that. They kill your dream with a smile, with a joke, with one simple sentence that looks innocent but hits like poison. Here's how they operate. You tell them your plan. You say, "I'm starting a business." They don't say, "That's amazing. Go for it." They say, "Really? Do you even know how risky that is?" Translation, "Please stay average with me." You say, "I want to lose weight. I'm going to the gym." They say, "Come on, bro. Don't become one of those fitness freaks." Translation, "I feel lazy, so let me drag you down with me." You say, "I'm studying late. I want to get ahead." They say, "Why are you wasting your youth? Enjoy, man. Enjoy." Translation, "If you succeed, my excuses will look stupid." Do you see the trick? They don't attack your dream directly. They wrap their poison in humor, in concern, in fake wisdom. And if you're not strong, you'll start doubting yourself. Now here's the scary part. Dream killers are often the people closest to you. Family, friends, people you actually love. And that makes them even harder to delete. Because when a stranger says you can't do it, you laugh. But when your cousin, your best friend, your parent says it, you start to believe it. Let me give you an example. Imagine Thomas Edison's friends when he said, "I'm going to invent the light bulb." I bet at least one of them laughed and said, "Bro, stick to candles." Imagine the Wright brothers saying, "We're going to fly." Someone must have said, "You can't even pay rent and you want to fly like birds?" If they had listened, you'd still be traveling by donkey. Here's the truth. Every big dream sounds stupid at first. That's why dream killers are so dangerous. Because their words sound logical when your dream is fragile. And most people quit not because they're weak, but because someone close to them convinced them it wasn't possible. Now, I'm not saying cut everyone off. You can love people and still keep them away from your dreams. You don't need to announce your vision to everyone. Sometimes silence is your best protection. Work in the dark. Let your results speak in the light. Because dream killers can't argue with success. But for the ones who constantly pull you down, constantly make you doubt yourself, you have only two options. Delete them or distance yourself. If you can't delete, create a firewall. Share less, protect your energy. Because your dream is like a newborn baby, fragile. And you don't hand a newborn baby to someone who drops everything they touch. Listen carefully. Your dream is oxygen. Dream killers are smoke. You can't breathe in both at the same time. So either you choke or you clear the air. At the end of the day, ask yourself this. When you're old and looking back, do you want to say, "I didn't try because someone told me not to"? Or do you want to say, "I tried, I fought, I failed, I succeeded, but at least I lived"? Because here's the ultimate truth. A dream killer can only kill your dream if you give them the weapon. Take it back. Protect it. Build it. And surround yourself with people who water your dream, not those who spit on it. So now you know the three types of people you must delete from your life. The complainers, the comfort dealers, and the dream killers. Let me tell you why this matters. Your life is like a bus. You are the driver. But if the wrong passengers are sitting inside, I don't care how powerful the engine is, the bus will never reach its destination. You'll run out of fuel, you'll lose speed, and you'll crash before you even see the highway. Some of you right now are blaming yourself, saying, I'm not disciplined, I'm not motivated, I don't have what it takes. But maybe it's not you. Maybe it's your passengers. Maybe you've been carrying complainers in the back seat, yelling how bad the road is. Maybe you've been carrying comfort dealers, begging for snack stops every 10 minutes. Maybe you've been carrying dream killers, screaming, turn back, this road is impossible. And because of them, you've been driving in circles. My friend, the solution is not to buy a new bus. The solution is to open the door and say, please get off. Because when the wrong people leave, the right energy enters. Think about it. Your phone runs smoother after you delete junk files. Your laptop runs faster after you remove viruses. Your room looks bigger when you throw out garbage. So why do you think your life will be any different? Listen, success is not only about what you add, it's also about what you subtract. Subtract negativity, subtract comfort, subtract doubt, and suddenly, what's left is focus, drive, and clarity. So from tonight, I want you to do something. Make a list, not of goals, not of dreams, but of people. Ask yourself, who drains me? Who distracts me? Who doubts me? That's your delete list. And no, you don't need to fight them, argue with them, or hate them. Just distance yourself quietly. Because you don't owe anyone your future. You only owe it to yourself. Remember this. One good connection can change your life, and one bad connection can destroy it. You are not a tree. You don't have to stay rooted in the same place with the same people forever. Move, grow, evolve. At the end of your life, nobody will remember how many Facebook friends you had, how many WhatsApp groups you were in, or how many nights you spent chilling. They'll remember what you built, who you became, and how you lived. So delete wisely, because sometimes the fastest way to change your life is not by adding something new, it's by removing what should never have been there in the first place. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Let me tell you something. Most people don't fail in life because they are unlucky. They fail because they never make real decisions. You see, decisions shape your destiny. Every millionaire, every successful person, every happy person, they are simply the result of a few right decisions made consistently. But most people, they wake up, go to work, complain, scroll Instagram, eat, sleep, and repeat. Their whole life is on autopilot. Let me ask you, have you ever realized how we spend hours choosing what to eat, but almost no time choosing what kind of life we want to live? People say, what's for dinner? 1,000 times. But they never ask, what's my direction? When I was young, I used to think success was about intelligence. No, it's not. It's about decisions. Because decisions force you to grow. You can be average your whole life if you keep deciding nothing. But the moment you decide to be different, your story changes. The first decision that will change your life forever is this. Decide to take responsibility for your life. Now, I know that sounds simple, but 90% of people never make that decision. They always blame the system, the boss, the parents, the economy, the weather, the government, their cat, their stars, everything. When they fail, they say, because of him. When they succeed, they say, because of me. One day, a young man came to me and said, Sir, I want to be rich. I said, good. What are you doing for it? He said, I'm waiting for an opportunity. I said, then keep waiting. Opportunity also waiting for people who are doing something. The truth is, when you take responsibility, you take power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Let me give you a funny but true example. When a student fails an exam, what's the first thing they say? The paper was too hard. Never. I didn't study. When an employee gets fired, what do they say? The boss doesn't like me. Never. Maybe I was lazy. This mindset is poison. You can't grow with it. You know, when I was young, I was rejected from jobs again and again. I didn't say, this world is unfair. I said, maybe I need to improve myself. Because complaining doesn't change your life, decisions do. If you keep blaming, you stay where you are. If you take responsibility, life starts moving. Think about this. If your life is a car, you are the driver. But most people are sitting in the passenger seat, shouting at the traffic, blaming the rain, blaming the map, and wondering why they never reach anywhere. Stop giving the steering wheel of your life to someone else. Your parents, your teachers, your boss, they can guide you, but they cannot drive for you. And yes, when you take responsibility, it will hurt at first, because suddenly you can't blame anymore. You can't hide anymore. You have to face the truth. My life is in my hands. But the moment you do that, something magical happens. You stop being a victim. You become the creator. So my friend, if you are broke, if you are lost, if you are confused, it's okay. But stop saying it's someone else's fault. Decide today, whatever my situation is, I own it. Because when you own it, you can fix it. You can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. And this first decision to take responsibility is the seed of every success story. You can't build an empire if you still think someone else is responsible for your failure. You can't fly if you still think someone else cut your wings. So from today, when things go wrong, don't ask why me. Ask what can I do now? Because that's the moment your life starts changing. Now that you've decided to take responsibility for your life, the second decision that will change everything is this. Decide to think long term. Let me tell you a secret. Most people destroy their future because they want everything now. They want success like instant noodles, 2 minutes and done. They want money fast, fame fast, results fast. But when life gets slow, they give up. You see, the world today has made everyone impatient. You order food, if it's 5 minutes late, you're angry. You post a picture, if it doesn't get 50 likes in 10 minutes, you delete it. You start a business, if it doesn't work in 3 months, you say maybe this is not for me. But all great things take time. A tree takes years to grow before it gives fruit. A diamond takes years of pressure before it shines. And success, it takes a decade before the world calls you lucky. Let me ask you, do you remember the first time you went to the gym? You looked in the mirror after one workout and said nothing changed. Of course nothing changed. But if you go every day for a year, the mirror will say, hello, new life. The problem is, we don't stay long enough to see the results of our decisions. I once met a young guy who said, "Sir, I started a YouTube channel. I uploaded 3 videos. No views, I quit." I said, "Then you didn't start a YouTube channel, you just did an experiment. You can't grow if you keep restarting every month." Life rewards consistency, not curiosity. Most people are curious about success. Only a few are consistent with success. Let me tell you a funny story. One man planted a seed. After 3 days, he saw no tree. He dug it up to check if it's growing. He killed it with his impatience. That's what most of us do. We dig up our dreams every week to check if it's working. If you want a life that lasts, think long term. You want a good relationship, think long term. You want real money, think long term. You want freedom, think long term. Because short-term people chase comfort. Long-term people chase growth. Comfort says, sleep a little more. Growth says, wake up, let's go. Comfort says, buy that new phone now. Growth says, invest that money and buy freedom later. When I was younger, I used to compare myself with people who were already successful. I thought, why are they ahead of me? Now I realize they just started earlier and stayed longer. That's it. No magic. So many people quit right before the breakthrough. They dig a well 9 feet deep and stop when water is at 10. The truth is, the people who win are not the smartest. They are simply the ones who stay in the game longer. When you think long term, failures don't scare you anymore. Because you know, it's just a small chapter, not the whole story. Think about this. If you go to the gym today and your muscles hurt tomorrow, it's not pain, it's progress. But if you think short term, you'll say, it hurts, I quit. If you think long term, you'll say, good, it's working. That's how champions think. They don't run for 100 meters, they run marathons. You see, time is your biggest weapon if you use it right, but it's also your biggest enemy if you waste it on shortcuts. So my friend, stop looking for quick success. Stop saying, I want to be rich next year. Start saying, I want to be valuable in the next 10 years. Because the moment you think long term, you stop chasing and start building. And when you start building, no one can take it away from you. In life, the difference between a temporary win and a lifelong success is patience. If you can wait, you can win. If you can stay, you can grow. If you can be patient, the world will be impatient to work with you. So decide today, no more quick results, no more shortcuts, no more next month I'll quit. Decide to think long term, because real success is not fast. It's forever. So you've decided to take responsibility. You've decided to think long term. Now comes the third decision. And honestly, this one separates the dreamers from the doers. Decide to choose the right people around you. Let me tell you something. Your environment is stronger than your motivation. You can be the most positive person in the world. But if you sit with 5 complainers, you'll start complaining too. If you sit with 5 people who gossip, you'll become the 6th. If you sit with 5 broke people, you'll soon wonder where your money went. But if you sit with 5 learners, 5 doers, 5 builders, your entire mindset changes. You know, people often ask, how do I stay motivated? I say, simple. Don't hang out with people who kill your motivation every day. I once told a young guy, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. He laughed and said, sir, my friends are just for fun. I said, then your future will also be just for fun. Listen carefully. Your circle decides your ceiling. If you're surrounded by people who only talk about others, you'll never have energy left to build yourself. You can't expect to grow if you spend your nights talking about who got a new iPhone instead of how to create your own success story. It's funny. People say they want to be lions, but they keep playing with sheep. And then they wonder why they're tired, why they're lost, why they're not growing. You want to know a secret? Sometimes your life doesn't need more motivation. It just needs fewer wrong people. I remember one of my friends back in the day. Every time I shared a new idea, he said, it won't work. New plan? Impossible. New dream? Be realistic. And for a long time, I believed him. Until one day, I realized his opinion was not my destiny. When you spend too long with negative people, their doubts sound like truth. But when you spend time with dreamers, their hope sounds like possibility. You can't control who you meet, but you can control who you keep. And trust me, that one decision can save you 10 years of pain. Let me give you a relatable example. Imagine you're trying to lose weight, and your friends say, come on, 1 burger won't hurt. Then another says, bro, 1 more drink. Enjoy life. After 3 months, you're not enjoying life. You're expanding life. That's what happens when you're in the wrong circle. Your goals die slowly, and you don't even notice. So surround yourself with people who clap when you win and guide you when you fail. People who talk about ideas, not people. People who see your potential, not your past. And please, don't keep people in your life just because of history. Keep them because of alignment. Someone who walked with you in school may not walk with you in success, and that's okay. Growth requires separation sometimes. It's not about hating anyone. It's about protecting your peace. If your dream is a fire, protect it from the rain of negativity. When I look back, every major breakthrough in my life came after I changed my circle. Not because I found smarter people, but because I found people who believed more, tried more, failed more, and still kept going. You see, we become who we talk to every day. So if you want to change your life, change your conversations. Talk less about people, more about purpose. Less about problems, more about progress. And one last thing, if you can't find inspiring people around you, be the first one. Be the one who talks about dreams, not drama. Because energy is contagious, and leadership starts with one person deciding, I'll go first. So from today, make this decision. I will build my circle, not just hang in one. I will choose people who lift me up, not pull me down. Because the quality of your life will always depend on the quality of your people. So far, we've talked about taking responsibility, thinking long-term, and choosing the right people. Now comes the fourth decision, and this one decides whether you'll stay ordinary or become unstoppable. Decide to keep learning no matter what. Now I know you've heard people say, never stop learning 1,000 times. But very few people actually do it. Most people stop learning the day they stop going to school. After that, they don't learn. They complain. They say, the world has changed. No, my friend, you stopped changing. Let me tell you, the biggest mistake people make after their 20s is thinking they already know enough. They say, I've got a degree, I'm done. Done? The world is just getting started. Do you know what's funny? We upgrade our phones every year, but we don't upgrade our minds in 10. You'll see someone using the latest iPhone, but their mindset is still from 2010. They say, why am I not successful? Because success needs a software update too. The truth is, the world doesn't pay you for what you knew. It pays you for what you're learning. You stop learning, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, you start complaining. I remember a friend who used to say, I don't read books, I don't like learning, I just want to make money. 5 years later, his company died. Why? Because his competitors learned faster than him. You see, learning is not just about reading books. It's about being curious every day. It's about asking, how can I do this better? A mechanic who keeps learning will one day own the workshop. A teacher who keeps learning will one day start a school. But a person who stops learning will one day start envying others. And please understand, education and learning are not the same. Education gives you information. Learning gives you transformation. One comes from school, the other comes from life. And life will test you again and again to see if you're learning or just pretending. You lost money once? Did you learn the lesson or just the pain? You failed in love? Did you learn about people or just built walls? You got rejected? Did you learn how to improve or just how to complain? Because every situation in life is a free course if you're willing to learn. Let me give you a funny example. I once met a guy who said, Sir, I want to start a business. I asked, do you read about business? He said, no, I watch motivational videos. I said, that's like saying you want to be fit, but you only watch gym videos. Learning is not watching, it's doing, failing, and trying again. You don't need to know everything. You just need to be willing to learn anything. You see, successful people are not smarter, they are more curious. When something new comes, they don't say, this is hard. They say, how does this work? Curiosity is the real superpower. You know, I once heard a line that changed my life. The day you think you're too good to learn is the day you start becoming irrelevant. Because life keeps moving. Technology keeps moving. The world keeps moving. And if you stop learning, life will move without you. So my friend, no matter where you are, keep learning. Learn from books, from people, from mistakes, from pain, from failure. Everything has a lesson if you have eyes to see. And don't just learn for money. Learn for mastery. Money follows masters, not followers. You know who fails? The person who says, I know enough. You know who wins? The person who says, I still have more to learn. So from today, make this decision. I will be a lifelong student, not of school, but of success. Not of theory, but of life. Because the one who keeps learning never stops winning. You've decided to take responsibility. You've decided to think long term. You've decided to choose the right people. You've decided to keep learning. Now comes the most powerful decision of all. Decide to never give up. Let me tell you, life is not easy. It will hit you, confuse you, disappoint you, test you, and just when you think you've made it, it will test you again. There will be days when you'll question everything, your dreams, your worth, even your sanity. And in those moments, one decision will define your future. The decision to keep going. You see, everyone is brave when things are easy. But the real courage is when everything goes wrong and you still whisper to yourself, I'll try again tomorrow. Success is not built on talent. It's built on stubbornness, the kind of stubbornness that says, I don't care how many times I fail, I'm not done yet. Let me share a small story. A man once asked a gold miner, how do you know when to stop digging? The miner said, when I find gold. But what if it's not there? The miner smiled, then I'll die digging. That's the mindset. Because most people don't lose to failure. They lose to quitting. You know, I failed so many times in my life that if failure were a school, I'd have a PhD. And every failure taught me something that comfort never could. You see, comfort teaches you nothing. Failure teaches you everything. You fall, you learn, you fail, you grow, you break, you rebuild. But only if you decide not to quit. I've seen so many talented people give up just because it was taking too long. But nobody claps for you in the middle. They clap at the end. So don't stop in the middle just because it's quiet. When you plant a seed, there's silence for months before a leaf appears. That silence is not death, it's growth underground. So if your life feels quiet right now, maybe your roots are growing. I once met a man who said, "I've been trying for years. Nothing is working." I told him, maybe you're not failing. Maybe life is testing your patience. Because life gives success to the one who proves they're serious. Let me give you a funny example. Imagine you're ordering pizza online. You place the order, and after 2 minutes, you cancel because it's taking too long. That's how most people treat success. They order it, but they don't wait for delivery. The truth is, great things take time, and that's why most people never see them. They quit before they arrive. But here's the beauty. Every failure, every rejection, every sleepless night, every heartbreak, it's building something inside you, something stronger than success, character. And character is the foundation that holds your success when it finally comes. Because if success comes too early, without pain, it disappears just as fast. But when you earn it after struggle, it becomes part of who you are. So never be ashamed of your scars. Scars mean you tried when others gave up. Scars mean you survived. Scars mean you didn't quit. And remember, you can rest, you can cry, you can doubt. But don't you ever quit. Because sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel isn't far, it's just one more step away. I know people who failed 10 times and gave up. I also know people who failed 100 times and won once. And that one win changed their entire life. Nobody remembers how many times you fell. They only remember that you stood up one more time. So from today, make this final decision. No matter what happens, I will not quit. Because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more people who refuse to give up. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the richest. You just need to be the one who keeps standing. Because in the end, it's not the biggest tree that survives the storm. It's the one that bends, breaks, and still keeps growing. So when life gets hard, smile. Say to yourself, I've come too far to only come this far. And remember these 5 decisions. Take responsibility, think long-term, choose the right people, keep learning, and never ever give up. Because if you can make these 5 decisions, you won't just change your life, you'll change your future, your family, and maybe even the world. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.